So Dariusz, in the presentation this morning, we heard that one of the things that practitioners expect for the CE region is an uptick in M&A activity stemming from private equity funds. And I know that you've recently supported a private equity fund in doing a deal involved in something that you're also very interested in, mountains. So can you tell us a little bit about what deal this was?
Well, the deal is probably one of the most significant private equity deal in Poland this year because effectively it's a privatization transaction where MEP acquired the largest ski lift operator in Poland with a significant history and business and sort of market profile. And it's a kind of a unique deal because this was in a joint venture with the local gminas, local authorities. It's a very interesting transaction, very kind of a high profile and unique in a sense that this is at least for the first time in Poland where private equity acquired something so exotic like ski lift operator. So it's a very, very interesting transaction.
And what are your expectations for private equity in the future? I mean, is it something that private equity is going to discover that there are more opportunities for them, particularly in sort of the growth segment, investing in companies at an early stage in their corporate development with the expectation that they can support it via a buy and build strategy? Or what are your feelings about the involvement?
I think we had a relatively quiet summer, I would say, spring and summer. And I just met yesterday one of the key sort of people from large Polish-based private equity fund, and the I think reflection is that the market is picking up definitely. It's not that it was completely quiet over the last 5 or 6 months, but I think there were no. Frankly, not too many sensible targets, but now they are kind of emerging and the deals are starting to materialize. So I think we're looking at, and this is I think the dominant view of at least Warsaw-based private equity funds, that the market is going to pick up definitely. In terms of sectors, I think the usual suspects. I'm not discovering America. They're saying that pharma is going to be a hot topic. Probably telecom, some of the sectors or subsectors of telecoms will be hot in Poland at least. I think leisure market as well, and our deal for MEPs is probably the first of the hopefully series of transactions. I think largely medical sector I mentioned, TMT, services, but surprisingly, at least some of the funds are looking into very interesting production assets as well in Poland.
Okay.
So.
One of the themes that is already emerging of the day is this issue of familiarity of the market, familiarity of potential targets. So the topic that we've discussed a couple of times is how important it is to be familiar with the target that you're acquiring, and that we're not going to see transactions that are transformational like we saw in the boom times, but we're going to see transactions where two companies who have had close relationships already in the past actually become full partners via a merger. Is that something that will mean that, if I turn it around into the private equity sphere, is that something where you think that local private equity players will have an advantage versus international private equity players, or do you think that's not going to make that much of a difference?
I think it's usually the case when you own the company in a certain sector and you say participating in a bid to acquire a similar company in the same sector, you have natural advantage.
Yeah.
Because obviously you know the sector, you know the people, you have the contact, plus you can create synergies, i.e. you can bid higher effectively. That's again, this is not a magic. But that's really true because we've saw those situations where there was, for example, new big players, big private equity funds coming to the market, and they were hoping that they outbid others who already have presence, have the similar companies in their portfolio, and they lost. So I think if I understood you correctly, there's a natural advantage of somebody who's bidding for a target who owns already a company in a similar sector.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Brilliant. Dariusz, thank you very much for sharing your insights.
Pleasure.